Almost ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. I'm drinking from my Our Lady Guadalupe coffee mug because I want to talk to you today about the call for our parish to go down and out, to be a down and out parish. That's right. That means a parish that is outward focused and a parish that is seeking to come down in age. Now, our parish is a family. Like all families, we have people of all different ages, but when the average age of a particular church is going up, that's generally not a good long-term strategy. So churches need to try to change that trend and bring those numbers down. So I want to speak about how we are called to be outward and focused and also invest in growing the young members of our parish, the young people in our parish. Left to themselves, there's a kind of a ecclesial gravitational pull in every church, that if you leave it by itself, a church, as will any organization, will become inward focused. It becomes concerned about its own issues, about its own likes and dislikes, and is very sensitive to its own members, to perhaps the desires, the wants of its own particular members. However, we're called to be a missionary church, not to be a club, and that means that the church needs to be converted, and the word converted means literally to be turned, and we need to be outward focused. So being inward focused is something that naturally will happen. If you want your church to be inward focused, do nothing, and it will become inward focused all by itself. The only way a church will be outward focused is if we really are intentional about turning outward. It's the same thing with age, about coming down in age. Again, if you do nothing, every year the church gets older every single year. We all get older every single year. And so in order to change that, you have to really be intentional of bringing the age down. Okay, so one of the ways in which we do this as a parish, we've been investing in this for quite a number of years, is the annual Steubenville Atlantic Youth Conference. Now, it's a strange thing to speak about a youth event using the name of a Ohio steel town. Why do we call it Steubenville? Isn't that where Dean Martin is from? I once heard that as well. Well, the town of Steubenville is indeed a steel mining town in Ohio, but it's also home to the Franciscan University of Steubenville. It's a big Catholic university that was the center in the 1980s and 1990s of a tremendous spiritual evangelical renewal, and it became a training center for many in youth ministry and church leadership, and it became very famous for putting on different events over the summer, big conferences. In fact, they would have so many people would come for these conferences, they direct these enormous tents. They put on these enormous youth conferences where hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of young people would have their lives impacted. They eventually would do conferences for priests and religious and other church leaders, and they still do. These conferences were so successful that they started to export them around the United States. And way back 20 years ago, I was part of a group that used to go from here down to Massachusetts to one of the Steubenville Atlantic, they called it Steubenville East, Steubenville East Conference. We would take like 120 teenagers down there, and it was a tremendous experience. We did that 3-4 times, and then we said, what if we could have this event right in Halifax, right in Nova Scotia? So the Archdiocese made an appeal to the folks at Franciscan University in Steubenville. And long story is that quite a number of years ago, the very first Steubenville Atlantic Conference happened. It happened in Antigonish. For the last number of years, it's been happening here in Halifax. So that's the history behind it. Why does the diocese promote this, and why do we support it? Because it has a disproportionate impact on many of our Catholic young people who really many have their faith awakened, many have their faith strengthened. They make friends that are life-lasting. And it's a tremendous way to invest in our young people. Here's the good news that the Steubenville Atlantic Conference sold out a couple of weeks ago. They filled every single spot, and our own parish is sending 29 youth and youth leaders to be a part of that conference. So that conference is happening this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm asking you to pray for them because our young people are heading onto a weekend that could really be incredibly impactful for their lives. We need, as a church, to be down and out. We need to be outward focused. We need to come down in age. And that begins by sending our young people to a conference like this and giving them the spiritual support they need to pray for them. So please do that. And we look forward to hearing the good news of everything that God has done in the lives of the young members of our parish. Thanks, everyone. God bless.